We copy you down, Eagle.
Okay, everybody, T1, stand by for T1.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
I am, of course, too young to remember when the first landing of the moon by Apollo 11 back in 1969, but it was one of those moments in life that many people will never forget. If you have a special fondness for space travel, you might want to think about investing in space memorabilia, that is. And joining us from New York to tell us how you can buy a piece of space travel history is Bobby Livingston. He is Vice President of Sales and Marketing at RR Auction. Okay, Bobby, I have to ask here, I've heard of sports memorabilia, comic books, the royal family, space?
Well, you know, like you said, it's probably man's greatest achievement. It's something that I remember. I'm a baby boomer. I remember watching the first landing on television in kindergarten, and it's something that sticks with you, and it's pretty exciting, and there isn't a lot of things to collect. You know, in sports memorabilia, there's lots of things to collect, but there's only so many things that actually flew to the moon or went onto the lunar surface, and we've got some of them.
Bobby, how does space memorabilia compare to other classes of memorabilia, both in terms of the value of these types of items, but also their appreciation? Is this a class of memorabilia that it might be savvy to invest in?
Absolutely. I have a great example. We had a signed check from Neil Armstrong last year that a consignor paid under $6,000 for, and we sold it for him 5 years later for $27,000. These are iconic memorabilia pieces and the people that collect them are passionate, and so there's money to be made in collecting space memorabilia as opposed to others. It's a very hot market, and we're seeing lots of growth in it. That's why we're doing this space auction.
Okay, you're going to be auctioning about 500 objects. Let's go through 2 or 3, maybe. Starting with the first one here, we're going to show a picture of it, a headset from the 1969 first moon landing. Tell us about that. Look at that estimated value, $80,000 to $100,000. Why would it get so much?
Well, that particular headset received the first transmission from the moon, and the first person spoke to humans on the moon through that headset. Through that, the famous term, "the eagle has landed," came through that headset, and Charlie Duke said, "We copy you down, Eagle," through that very headset. The other side of that headset's in the Smithsonian here in the States, and that's a museum-quality piece. It represents an incredible engineering achievement, and you're just not going to see anything like that. It's associated with the greatest mission, Apollo 11, and it's something it's worth investing in.
Now, Bobby, guys occasionally get lonely in space, and your next item here, an interesting find. This was a poster, a Playboy poster that was discovered in the command module. It was left by one of the backup crew, but it was found by one of the crew members while the module was orbiting the moon. I don't know. I guess it's a kind of unique thing, but $12,000?
Well, it's got a lot of things going for it. First off, you got to remember these guys were fighter pilots, astronauts facing death and incredible stressful situations, fear, and they would play pranks on each other. And one of the things that the guys did is they smuggled on this D.D. Lind calendar and put it in the guy's locker, Richard Gordon's locker, so when he was orbiting the moon during Apollo 12, during a certain stressful period, he opened his locker and found her there in space. So it was not for titillation, but for humor and to break the incredible moment of stress that he was going through.
And how do you know that it's authentic? How do you get these pieces?
That piece and most of the pieces originated with the astronauts themselves or people that worked with NASA. We've got about 7 consigners to this auction that have spent the last decade assembling their collections, plus we have 1 astronaut consigning to this auction. So these things are rarely on the market. This is only the second time that most of these pieces have ever been offered for sale.
Well, the next item up for bid is a map, and it's just not any map, Bobby. This is an actual surface imaging of the moon that was used by the astronauts on Apollo 17 in 1972.
Right. That map was actually on the moon, on the lunar surface, out with the astronauts on a lunar rover. And that particular map was for if they broke down, they could make it back. But it's interesting what you
because
should
there's lots
invest
of
in.
landmarks on the moon.
Yeah, but can you imagine breaking down and having to find your way back? So they thought of everything. But if the fact that it was on the surface makes it extremely valuable. Things that were only in the lunar module that landed on the surface of the moon, that's the next level, and the ones that orbited are worth a little bit less. So the most expensive, the most desirable are the things that actually went out onto the surface. And we've got several cool things like that.
And what about, is there a hierarchy of missions in terms of the first that landed on the moon, the second, the third, that kind of thing?
Right. Sure. Apollo 11, of course, is the most famous and most iconic and highly collectible. But we have missions all the way to the beginning. Gemini, Mercury, very, very desirable, very collectible. We got some really cool things from them, too.
Okay, this might gross out some viewers, but you got, I don't know, astronaut munchies on auction. Is this stuff that old? Like, are we talking freeze-dried food from 20 years ago that people are going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on? Kind of crazy.
Well, actually, that piece is probably $100 to $300 somewhere in there. But that's technology. That's something we take for granted. But those things were invented for the Apollo program. It's dried. It's vacuum packed into that plastic bag. And, obviously they're in space and they'd have to suck that through that tube, that pot roast. It's quite unappetizing. But, those are some of the advances that we made, that the space program made, that now have become part of our life. But that particular pot roast is 40 years old.
Very appetizing. Well, Bobby, good luck with this auction, and thanks very much for talking with us.
It was fantastic. Thanks for having me.